Hello, how are you doing? Welcome to another episode of the Dr. Will Show, where we have the discussions that inform, entertain, and empower educators to be the change. I am your host, Dr. Will, and today we're going to talk about the real of healthy living. Okay, now we've all seen a lot of stuff. Everything's all in the news, and you got paleo and Atkins and Oprah's doing the I can't even think of that name right now. Where you count the points. Everybody got something to say about eating and health and all of that. And so I decided once this individual came in my feed, a registered dietitian, to get some information from an actual expert. So Samina is my guest today. Samina Qureshi. How are you doing, Samina?
Hey, Dr. Will, I'm doing so great. I'm so happy to be here with you and kind of spread my message as to what I do as a registered dietitian.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you again for being a guest on the show. So for those who are watching, will you please introduce yourself?
Definitely. So like you said, I'm a registered dietitian, and what that means is that I am someone who can translate the science of nutrition and health into sustainable lifestyle behaviors that you can implement into your life and achieve that best health.
Awesome, awesome. So what is, I know you sort of briefly mentioned that, but what is a registered dietitian? Your education, certifications involved, and what is the type of work you actually do with clients?
That is such a great question. People often ask, what is the difference between a registered dietitian and a nutritionist? Why don't I just go see this nutritionist claiming to or supporting this supplement that they're selling or whatever? So there are really two major differences between a registered dietitian and a nutritionist. And the first one does have to do with their educational background. So to become a dietitian, you have to get your bachelor's of science in a nutrition-related degree or dietetics. After that, you have to apply to a graduate program that is tied to a dietetic internship where you have to complete 1,200 plus hours of supervised practice. And then after that, we have to pass a national board exam. So the education is definitely there to back all of our health recommendations. And then the second major thing is that registered dietitians are licensed health professionals. So, in order to practice in the United States, I have to be licensed in the state of Texas where I practice. And throughout my career, I have to maintain my license with continuing education. So I'm staying up to date on the most recent evidence-based research out there.
Awesome, awesome. So we're talking to a professional people and not an Instagram star or other people, out there. So, all of us are busy, and, my audience are educators such as myself. And, all day we're dealing with students, parents, administrators. We come home to our parents and friends, and it seems as though we don't have the time for ourselves. So what inspired you to live a life dedicated to healthy living?
Yeah, your life, definitely, things can get in the way of managing your health or being as healthy as you would actually, end up liking to do. But from an early age, I realized that the foundation of your life is truly your health. So whether you want to be a doctor, a teacher, a lawyer, start a family, no matter what you want to do, you have to manage your health first to get there. And the reason I wanted to dedicate my life to healthy living is so that I can promote this message to those around me.
Awesome, awesome. So we've all heard about how your diet should not be a diet, but actually be a part of a healthy lifestyle. That said, there's so many competing voices out there for what a healthy lifestyle means. From a nutrition perspective, how does what one eats either adds or subtracts from one's quality of life?
Yeah, I love that you said, that you shouldn't really follow a diet and it should be a healthy lifestyle. So I guess what you want to know is what makes a healthy lifestyle a healthy lifestyle. So the food we eat definitely provides our body with the energy we need to achieve our goals, but balance is key. So if you have a balanced diet with a combination of carbohydrates, fiber, protein, fat, it'll kind of allow you to get that energy and that fuel that you need to accomplish your goals. But if you end up having, maybe a poor relationship with food, you can end up feeling sluggish or tired depending on what you've eaten. So a healthy lifestyle doesn't only revolve around what you eat. I believe that in a more holistic approach, which also includes other aspects of your life, including how much activity you're getting, what is your sleep hygiene like? Are you super stressed at work, or are personal issues, impacting the quality of your life? So a combination of all of these things helps add to the quality of your life.
So generally speaking, doctors are very quick to give you a pill for high blood pressure, for diabetes, and they leave out the information of nutrition and improving those conditions and even reversing them. Where have you seen the disconnect between the practice of traditional medicine and the practice of food as medicine?
Yeah, that's another really great question. There's a strong focus in using a pill to silence some symptoms or manage a certain health condition. Doctors, they may not be educated on how other allied health professionals, such as registered dietitians, can actually help manage their patients' outcomes. So while prescribing a pill can help treat, say, your high blood pressure, I think what it really comes down to is that coordination of care. So having your doctors and dietitians talking to each other to ultimately provide you with the best treatment plan. And that can happen by doctors referring their patients to their local dietitians, and so that we can help them manage their current health conditions and then even prevent further complications.
Okay, so since you bring that up, someone comes to you and maybe they say, hey, I want to lose weight, or they're saying, I'm tired, I don't have the energy. How do you actually work with a client to develop a plan and maybe monitor them to be of assistance in them accomplishing whatever goals they've set for themselves?
Great. I think I missed this question when you asked me earlier. So I provide one-on-one nutrition counseling, and I focus on integrative and functional nutrition. And that really encompasses the whole nutrition, physical activity, stress management, sleep quality, and all of that. And during those one-on-one counseling sessions, in our first session, I will, have you complete an intake form that will provide me with more information about your current health habits. So maybe it'll have a 3-day food log, so you'll fill out, what you usually eat, and then it'll also ask you questions about your current and previous medical history, as well as your family history of certain medical conditions, and then talking to you and using motivational interviewing to, use your past experiences to help you achieve what you want to in the future really helps us develop the right treatment plan for you. So it's not a very easy answer to provide you with, because I focus on such an individualized approach with each person I'm working with.
Cool. Now, one of the reasons that sparked this interview is my wife and I watched a documentary on Netflix.
Okay.
Okay. This documentary is What the Health. Okay. And man, I'm telling you, when you watch that bad boy, it's one of those things you go, wow. And what they and basically, essentially, the documentary focuses on plant-based living, and they talk about how, let's say for diabetes, for example, which is very interesting because people always think diabetes, they think sugar and carbs and those things, and these physicians were like, hey, sugar isn't the greatest thing, but they said in terms of diabetes, it's not the sugar that you need to be worried about, because there are cells in your body that automatically take care of the sugar. The problem comes, as they said, because of eating the animal meat, right? Eating the meat, that fat works against those cells that take care of the sugar. So that messes with your insulin, which in turn why you need a pill to regulate your insulin. So when we talk about diet in terms of what people should be eating for optimum health, what's the truth versus the myth? What food should we be consuming? Is a plant-based diet, right? Is that really the best diet for living our best lives?
I love your enthusiasm behind this question, and I love that you and your wife are so interested in nutrition, because it is something that many people, want to get great, evidence-based information for. But when you listen or watch these movies backed by these doctors who are, thinking in an unconventional way and making you think that, or maybe demonizing specific food groups such as meat or animal products, it becomes a little difficult. So let me start by saying that, the advice that I provide to my clients is highly individualized to the patient I'm working with. There's no perfect diet. There's no one-size-fits-all approach to healthy living. These specific diets, say you go vegan and you don't know what to eat, so you end up eating, say, an avocado for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's not really sustainable for everyone, and for there to be a blanket recommendation for everyone to go vegetarian or vegan really may not work out. I mean, there are some really crazy diets and crazy health claims out there. So since we're talking in general terms, the best way I know how to answer this question is by describing a plate. So instead of focusing on, vegan, vegetarian, whatever diet you follow, try and create a balanced plate. And so say you have a big circle, I focus on having half of that plate filled with fruits and vegetables, a fourth of it with maybe some protein, and that can be, your plant-based sources of protein, and then the rest of it with those carbohydrates that you enjoy eating, paired with, a source of dairy and a glass of water that provides you with a pretty complete, balanced meal. I could talk about, myths versus facts in diet and health claims, but to really provide you with a specific answer, we'd have to dig a little bit deeper into your individual, health concerns and your daily habits. So that's the best answer I can provide on that.
Okay. So let me throw this out there to you, since we're there. I don't know if you feel free to say no if you don't want to answer this. But we're 2 weeks, I believe, removed from Ramadan.
Yeah.
Right. And then there are other faiths that practice fasting as well. How does one make sure that they are getting the proper nutrition when they are fasting for that length of time?
Yeah, so during Ramadan, you're fasting for up to like 17 hours? So it's a long time without eating. And so you have that morning or pre-sunset meal or time that you can eat. And during that time, I tell people to create that balanced plate. So find foods that are going to provide you with a source of fruits, vegetables, some protein, and a carbohydrate. Throw in some dairy and you're good. So really, finding foods that, one, you can tolerate that early in the morning with your digestion. So something really simple, for example, would be maybe scrambled eggs with a whole grain toast and a glass of milk. You have your protein, carbohydrates, dairy, and fiber. So if you want to add more fiber, you could add maybe some spinach or some tomatoes to your scrambled eggs, or making an omelet with some extra veggies in there. Or a simpler thing that you could do is make a really quick fruit and veggie smoothie with some type of milk that would provide you with protein. So, it's difficult to provide your body with the right amount of energy during that pre-sunrise meal, because it's so early in the morning and it's such a short amount of time, but you also have to be mindful of your cravings and be gentle with your body as well. So like I'm providing you with these recommendations, but if you truly feel like having a different meal that may not be that balanced and that's what's going to get you through the day, that's completely fine too. I don't believe in really rigid rules or restrictions with, your diet. So then when you do open your fast, say at sunset, you would want to look for the same thing. How do you create that balanced plate? And say you're at a party and you have, pizza and chicken and all of these things. So definitely go for the food that you enjoy, but also try and round it out with some of the other foods that may be available.
Okay. I did not do healthy. I did not.
You know what? And it's so difficult when you're fasting for that long to come out of the fast, break your fast, and think, okay, I'm going to have a salad, or I'm going to eat this lean piece of meat with vegetables. You really also have to listen to your body, and if it's craving something at that moment, go for it, because if you don't, then later on those cravings will just come back.
Excellent. Well, thanks for answering that question. So when someone says, hey, I want to work with a dietitian, particularly if they've gone to their doctor and their doctor is like, hey, here's these 5 pills, and they don't really sit down with them, which has been my experience of a doctor. Here's a script. They spend 15 minutes with me, right? And I'm saying, I just paid $170. You spending 15 minutes with me, and you're not even really going through what this medication could do to me, or even saying, hey, this is temporary. I really want you to take this for about 6 months, but we need to work on a plan within 6 months, a year, the latest, that you're off the medication because of these other steps that I've taken. So when someone says, hey, I'm done, not done, but I want something better because I don't want to be on this medication forever. Now some medication, let's be, you've got a transplant, that's a forever thing. But we're just talking about particular type 2 diabetes or high blood pressure. Those are things, again, not having a medical degree, but I think those things with proper diet and exercise you can minimize medication or possibly get rid of them altogether. And again, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not giving you medical advice. So don't you dare try to sue me later on, all right, people? But when a person says, hey, I want more information because I'm not really feeling that my medical person is giving me all the information I need to know, what should they look for in a registered dietitian? And what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
So you know what? That's a really good question. And your experience is not something that's uncommon. I think that, that's one of the main reasons why I have my title registered dietitian or my job, is because doctors, unfortunately, nowadays have less and less time to speak with their patients about their protocol or their treatment plan. So, people can come see a registered dietitian before their doctors are prescribing them with their medications, during or after. So like, when you do look for a registered dietitian, make sure you do a little research behind their wellness philosophy and their education to make sure they're providing you with science-based nutrition recommendations, but also that their wellness philosophy aligns with yours. So the last thing you really want is for someone to tell you to make certain changes to your life that you're absolutely not comfortable with. And you definitely will also want to find a dietitian that you can trust. Developing that relationship is really essential to, working with your dietitian to find a plan that's going to work for you. Because really, when you work with a dietitian, you're both working on something together to help you get to where you want to go. So I can sit here and make a bunch of recommendations, but if we don't work together and if we don't break down those barriers to help you make those healthy lifestyle changes, then you're really not going to go anywhere.
Excellent, excellent. So what have you learned personally? What lessons have you learned about making health and wellness a priority in your life?
Yeah, so I've learned a lot, but one of the most important lessons I've learned is that there really isn't a magic pill or one-size-fits-all approach to healthy living. This kind of sound like I'm on a repeat record, right? It's kind of been the theme of today. So the key to healthy lifestyle is really finding the right balance for you. And like I said before, working with a registered dietitian will help you find that, help you personalize a treatment plan that works best for you.
Awesome, awesome. So before we go, what is your advice for those they're watching and they want to get better for whatever reason, but they don't know where to start?
Yeah. So I think the first thing I want to say is to stop believing everything you see in the media and to stop believing that you have to be on a diet to maintain your health and happiness. I believe that, all foods fit within a healthy diet, and whether those foods provide you with the best nutrients or whether they are really a comfort food or it's a social event and you're, really getting that social interaction with your family and friends and you're able to enjoy those foods. Food isn't just fuel. So one simple thing that you can do is try and add nutrient-rich foods to your diet. So instead of taking foods that you love out of your diet, you're really focusing on, how can I add something that will benefit me? So say, for example, you eat breakfast, then you eat lunch, but at 11 a.m. before it's lunchtime, you are starved at work. All you can think about is how hungry you are. Is add in a mid-morning snack. And say you really like trail mix, you can make your own trail mix, such as like a handful of nuts and some dried fruit to tide you over until your meal time. So focus on adding foods to your diet instead of taking them away. Listen to your body and know that you are, you don't have to be subjected to mainstream media where they're telling you that you have to be on a diet to live a healthy life.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you again, Samina, for being a guest on the show. People, you know how I do. This is going up on the YouTube channel. Please subscribe. This will be going up on LinkedIn as well, on my blog, and of course, it'll be tweeted out. And you'll be able to connect with Samina on social media, because I'll make sure I put that out there as well. So as always, people, invest in you, eat in you. Peace. Thank you, Samina, for being a guest on the show.
Thank you so much.